Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Lightning Storm, the series where lightning always strikes twice as we talk about everything that has happened in the past week for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. And in a surprising turn of events, we actually have a little bit of news to discuss this week in fact, so let's not waste any time and go ahead and get right on into it. So first up is not really good news, but it's news that happened nonetheless. So the Target exclusive Red Tyrannosaurus Ranger Sentries that got revealed back at Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest a couple weeks ago were originally slated to release from Target.com during the first week of August. I think it was actually August 1st that it was slated to come out there. And no, not anymore. So the Sentries have now been pushed until October 3rd. So if you pre-ordered them on Target, you probably got the email this past week to approve the delay on it. I got it for all three of the ones that I pre-ordered, so that's fun. So instead of them doing the whole thing where they charge my card and then reverse charge it back and forth for 3 months, now they're going to do it for 5 months. So I love that. That's going to be fantastic. But unfortunately, that's just how it goes sometimes. But you do have to make sure that if you did pre-order from Target, make sure to check your email to see if you got to that delay approval thing. Because if you don't approve the delay by, I believe it was August 31st, they will cancel your order. And you don't want that to happen because the figure is already sold out on Target and on Pulse. Now, speaking of Pulse, it's still listed as a September 1st release date on Pulse. So I don't know if maybe Pulse actually might get it earlier than Target, which would be kind of weird since it's supposed to be a Target exclusive. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. I guess also it's possible that maybe they will come out in August nonetheless anyway. But if this was supposed to be something for Power Month, which, to be fair, they didn't claim this to be part of the Target capsule, then it's definitely not coming out in time for Power Month. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens with it. But yep, like I said, just make sure you approve the delay if you got that email. And I guess we'll just see what happens with it. Now also, you might want to continue to check the listing for the Red Sentry on Target, because every once in a while it goes back up for pre-order for like a second. Like, I tweeted it out this past week and it was gone not even 30 seconds later. So I don't know if that's just some weird fluke or something, or if they actually are taking new pre-orders at random times. But if you did miss out on Target and Pulse, you might still have a shot at getting it from Target.com. You're just going to have to be vigilant about it. Now this week we actually had some brand new listings that came from Target. So Target's just all over this episode here in terms of the news. So these listings came from Uncaged Otaku on Twitter. Now they have been helpful. In fact, I think going all the way back to like the first couple episodes of Lightning Storm was one of the last times that they were here. But they've been helpful in supplying Target listings in the past, namely with the Dino Special 3-pack, which is sitting right here behind me, that 3-pack of the Dino basic figures, as well as telling us that we were going to be getting a Target exclusive Black Ranger figure last year. We just didn't know it was going to be Dino Charge Black after all. But they're back with 4 new listings from the Target system that are all slated to release, or at least arrive at Targets at the end of July, early August. So this could be related to Target's Power Month capsule. We're not 100% sure on that at this point in time. We also don't know what they actually are. But we have 5 listings here that we'll go through real quick. Now, I only think one of them is Lightning Collection, and I'll explain about why I think that here in a second. But we have 4 medieval themed listings: Joust, Catapult, Trebuchet, and Lance. So the 4 of those are all priced at $24.99, so definitely not in any kind of Lightning Collection price that we're typically, known to have, either $19.99 or $22.99 or $29.99 or $39.99. It's not any of those. So who knows what those will be, and we'll get into it in a second. The 5th one, though, I'm pretty sure is a Lightning Collection figure. It is Power Rangers Disguised ZTH Jupiter, priced at $22.99. And this one is very interesting for a couple of reasons. So we'll go ahead and discuss this one first before we go back to the medieval ones. What is this? So it doesn't have BLT in the code, so it doesn't. I guess that also could potentially make it not Lightning, and there could be a slight chance that none of these are Lightning at all. But I think if any of them are, I think that this one definitely is. Not only for the fact that it's priced at the same price that the Sentry was, $22.99, which makes me think it could be Lightning. But also, if you remember back on the day of FanFest, we had that listing from D-Wall's Epic Calls on Twitter that was from Toys R Us Canada that was disguised Andros. Now, that's weird because we have a disguised Andros listing from Toys R Us Canada, and then we have a ZTH Jupiter disguised listing from Target. And those don't line up in the codes because ZTH should be Zeo. Granted, we know that has not always been the case. And Jupiter we know is red. So the red thing overlaps. Andros figure and a ZTH Jupiter figure would both stand for red, obviously. However, the ZTH thing is interesting because if you apply it to it being what it should be, Zeo, as we saw with Wave 8's Zeo Green, which was ZTH Mercury, it should be Zeo Red. But I can't think of anything that would be a disguised Zeo Red. I can think of something for a disguised Andros if you have him have like the cloak on that you see him have in the premiere of In Space when he's infiltrating the United Alliance of Evil. That could be what they do with it. Also, that could be an interesting way for them to release Andros outside of Versus Pax Wave 1 as a standalone figure, because even though I don't know why you wouldn't want to have an Astronomer figure, she's badass, but I can see why some people might want to have waited to get Andros on his own somehow. So that's why the disguised Andros made sense to me. Now, also, of course, we have to take into consideration here that ZTH is being miscoded for like the millionth time. We know that there's been at least 2 other instances where ZTH was wrongly used in the code system. ZTH Tenga, of course, in Wave 9 ended up being a Mighty Morphin Tenga warrior and not anything Zeo related. And then, of course, infamously, the first time was in Wave 7 when ZTH Radar ended up being the Z-Putty. But then stores had listed the Z-Putty, some still do, as a Zeo Putty, which is kind of what helped us think that, okay, maybe the code really is Zeo. So there, it was coded as Zeo. Wave 8, it was used properly with Adam. Wave 9, it just wasn't. I didn't see any stores that listed the Tenga as Zeo Tenga, so I don't know what happened there. But, we do have that ZTH Venus code in Wave 10, which is probably Tanya, based off of the fact that we know Venus is yellow now and everything. So who knows if ZTH will come true there and actually be Tanya, or if it'll be some other random season or something. So yeah, that's why it's kind of hard for me to figure out what is actually going on with this one here, because it's hard to take the validity of ZTH and what it actually means. So as of right now, I would lean more towards the disguised Andros route of this, since we do have something that's a little more concrete to an actual character than just a code. Now, of course, there is also the possibility that these are 2 completely different listings and are not the same at all. I feel like that's unlikely, because why would we have 2 disguised figures? Also, Toys R Us Canada usually gets Target exclusives, since Target doesn't exist in Canada anymore, and Toys R Us doesn't exist in the US anymore. So usually, they trade off exclusives basically. They have, Dino Charge Black came out there last year. Well, it came out in Target here in the US. So I think because of that, we can correlate them together. Having Toys R Us have a listing for a disguised figure and Target having a listing, they're probably the same thing. Just as Toys R Us Canada had that listing for an Evil Red Ranger, which could, in theory, be A Squad Red, but also it's probably more likely to have been the Red Sentry that we just got revealed. So remember that there are 2 other listings from Toys R Us Canada that have not popped up on Target yet in any way, and they could. An Evil Yellow Ranger, which could be A Squad Yellow, if the Evil Red is A Squad Red, but like I just said, could be the Sentry. So it could be another Sentry. And then we also had that 6-inch Ninjetti thing, which was a little higher priced. So who knows what's going on with that. But that was just a bunch of rambling on about this listing. I would love to know in the comments below what you guys think this is. I know it's really hard to kind of figure it out since ZTH is unreliable. And, if it is Zeo, then what would be a disguised Tommy? And if it is Andros, why is it coded as ZTA? Whatever. Let's move on to the other 4, shall we? So the other 4 listings, the medieval themed listings, like I said earlier, do not fit into any predetermined Lightning Collection price point that is typical. Not that they couldn't be something. I've seen recently Target exclusives for other lines that have been priced at $24.99, namely Star Wars Black Series is getting a whole wave of Target exclusive figures based off of the Clone Wars that are all $24.99. So in theory, we could have something like that. That was a wave of 4, and here we have 4 listings. Now, my top hypothesis here for what these are is that I think these could be the Dino Fury Zords. Now, I have recently saw on Walmart. I posted about it on my Twitter account, and I don't talk about the main Power Rangers toy line here. I just talk about Lightning Collection. But I did post some Dino Fury pictures and listings the other day, and it showed to us from Walmart that these Zords are going to cost about $25. I think it was like $24.87 or something, which would basically just be $24.99 at any other retailer. Walmart's a little weird like that with the cents. So yeah, these could be the Dino Fury Zords since they do match up price point wise. I have the barcodes for the three initial Dino Fury Zords because they're doing the T-Rex Champion as its own thing, and then they're doing pink and green as their own thing, or as a 2-pack, and then blue and black as a 2-pack, each at $25 a piece, which is reasonable because red is the more involved in everything. So yeah, I don't know what's going on exactly with that. I am reaching out to some people to try to see if I can get those barcodes scanned at Target to see if they match up to those, Lance, Catapult, Trebuchet, and Joust listings. But for right now, my guess is that they are the Zords and not Lightning Collection related, but I could be wrong. I posted my Lightning Fig PR this week anyway, just in case they ended up being Lightning or something, but I think only the disguised CCH Jupiter figure is a Lightning Collection figure. And probably something related to Target's capsule for Power Month because of the fact that it is supposed to come out in August. Alright, well I think that is going to do it for this week's episode of Lightning Storm. Next weekend, I will bring back Lightning Strike of the Week. I've been having people send in stuff for that, which is great. Thank you all so much. Of course, as always, you can, on Instagram or on Twitter at LightningFigPR, you can send over submissions to be included in Lightning Strike of the Week. That's always been the intention of it. I just really never had much of people send anything in before, so I was always finding stuff on my own. But yeah, if you guys would like to be featured here for a chance to be featured, be sure to send over stuff to LightningFigPR at either Instagram or Twitter. And we'll bring that back next week because there probably won't be much news in the next week unless like a Fan First Friday happens or something, but I'm not anticipating that for a little bit. So that's all I got for this week's episode. Thank you all for watching Lightning Storm as always. And of course you can follow me on Twitter at two different places, at Living Ranger Key, my personal account, or at LightningFigPR like I just mentioned for all things Lightning Collection related. I'll see you all next time on Lightning Storm, the series where lightning always strikes twice.